There's a lot of kids in the area I see, and it's sad. It's not just sad for Jack and Lily, but it's sad for everybody who knew Jack and Lily.
Well, isn't that just interesting? Why are you sweating? Isn't that interesting? You didn't even like Jack and Lily. Wade says you beat the kids, smacked them around. So did the people at school. That was their concern. But old Danny just had the same excuses publicly as he did to the Children's Aid. There's always a reason why a child has a black eye, isn't there, Dan? Cool J, his own children said he beat Jack and Lily. Well, yeah, they used the ABUSE term. Reportedly. You calling him a shapeshifter, Tambourine? Yeah, he always likes to tell you what you think you want to hear in that moment. I'm a little concerned that you're generalizing all of this nonsensical statements. And you're twisting them, not even getting them right. It's avoiding speaking directly to even your emotions, and that's rather obvious here. God darn it, Victorian7192. Thank you for all you do for Lily and Jack. I appreciate that very much. That's very generous. He's sweating over his own lies? Yeah, there's definitely some cognitive load there. Danny claiming his kids hurt themselves is just disgusting. Well, that's just his mentality. Like, it's like the you made me do this type of thing. It's like, you made me slap you. You made me, your behavior made me discipline you in such a way that it took your lives. No, I think it's a lot further than that. He had a psychological break because of the circumstances that they brought on themselves. Malaya was the first one to bail out of it, and he saw that and sees that as against the rules. And along with everything else, the children were more and more of a bother. The more and more that they fought, the more isolating it was for everybody. And because he was super annoyed from the kids, he was the one who always went and dealt with them. Because really, the kids probably weren't actually doing anything wrong at any one point in time. They were just putting old Danny boy out. Danny, like Nick, what it's sounding like is going on with, what's Nick's, what is that director's last name? Excuse me. Too many names on my mind. Meathead from All in the Family. Rob Reiner. Nick Reiner did to Rob and his wife. You know, he had a psychological break under the same circumstances. Daniel's in the exact same boat. Similar stresses. In your opinion, Janie and Daniel conned Malaya into thinking that the kids wandered into the woods? You can't say that yet, Ginger Snap, and I don't think so. You have to have a reason why, but I don't think so. There's all kinds of lying going on, and there's a false narrative being portrayed in Malaya. Was excuse me, expected to push it. Holy mackerel! Where's my drink? Yeah, I'm not you again. Really what you're saying is his behavior should be resembling something a whole lot different. If something in that sense happened. Hold on. Yeah, I believe so too. There, horsey gone wild. Malaya knows exactly what happened. She knows enough. It could be probably why she got into this mess in the first place. Ginger snap. I got no doubt that she was constantly being manipulated by Daniel all the time. It just comes with the substance abuse. Like you're living a lie in that sense. That's out of your control. It just is that way. It's not whether it was or not. It was that way. It's that way every single time somebody is in that situation. That's an extreme violation of trust or whatever trust that you had. Reality of it is it was never a good relationship. What complicated things is Meadow, and Meadow, Daniel and Janie saw Meadow as their possession in that sense. That somehow gave them all kinds of magical rights over Malaya and the situation that they were in and where things were going to go in the future. They did deserve better than this. Of course they did. So you really have to go back, and I don't want to go too far back, and I'm not holding it against Belinda or anybody yet because we're still learning things. But it seems things started to go awry and didn't have a real clear direction when she fought. It sounds like she fought to have full custody and to keep Cody out of the kids' lives for whatever reason. And that's where things started to go wrong. I don't blame Cody for that at this point in time. Neither of them probably really had a good handle on what it is that they needed or wanted to do and felt that they had to win a fight in the moment rather than think what's the best step to take for our children that we have. Belinda says Cody still managed to live up to his obligation financially and send payments, which that blows my mind. So I don't know what Cody has to get over, but he should get over it. And I wish he was a lot different. Should he have been different, this probably never would have happened in the first place, but I don't hold that against him. My point with that is that Daniel filled that fucking void. And this is the worst case scenario. The situation probably would never have happened if he had an active father in his life, but that's neither here nor there at this point. Just expressing how disappointed I am. Because here Cody pays child support to Malaya, and it's heartbreaking to know that I don't know the situation. It sounds like he's being made to stay away by and for whatever reason, whether it's legit or not, who knows. But it's heartbreaking to know that he's walking away from two children in that sense. I don't know all the details. Investing time in this situation and pretending to be concerned and just a good Samaritan, all while really lying to you in the same breath. Just complete fabrication from Darren Getty's standpoint, aka Darren and Janie in this circumstance. It's disgusting. Hold on. Snack time. That's some Coca-Cola tonight. You never stop your son from seeing your ex's parents, children, either bio grandparents. Well, it's interesting to me that Belinda mentions how different Malaya became when Daniel got involved, because openly he didn't feel comfortable with the situation. What does that tell you? He's certainly not very accepting of the situation where he's so adamant to be in, where he's going to now have a child with this girl. Like, think about Belinda's interpretation of Daniel's attitude at that time. That says a lot. That says a lot. Usually a person, if your intentions are right, are fairly accepting, well-intentioned, and at least participatory. There's no give or take in this relationship. There's no managing it. It's Daniel really controlling Malaya and saying that, no, that's your old self. You can get away from all of that, and you can ignore that life now and just give me your undivided attention. It's part of the control. He probably doesn't even, like, we call it the part of the control cycle. He doesn't see it as such. It's probably just normal to him. Okay? It's just normal to him. He doesn't know it like that. He's starting to learn. He's going to learn, unfortunately. How controlling if Daniel to feel entitled to not let the kids keep their positive interactions with caring family. Oh yeah, and talk about a big chance to, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, because if you're in that situation, sometimes it's nice to have less people around. You know, there's not as much to do. It's not as high paced. Look, you can shop the kids out. You can have them go stay with family for the weekend here and there. Especially that it was a healthy environment as well. So Daniel says to Malaya, or at least Malaya says it, that Daniel said that to him, and I don't doubt that it's true, that he wasn't very comfortable with Malaya coming back to visit with Jack and Lily to their former grandmother's house. Doesn't say any, dude, that's just nothing but 12-year-old jealousy. You're an immature boob in that sense. The fact that you would even say that at that point in time should have been a red flag for Malaya. That would have been you can't even go past that point. The first that you would introduce that, Malaya should have fucking bailed on your ass. Why would she stick around? Probably her addictions had a lot to do with it. Her lifestyle. Her complacent nature. There's probably going to be all kinds of those all along the way that reveal themselves to us. Oh shit, you're not kidding. Oh, not you again says, but we're social species. Well, most of us. Janie's probably had a lot of trauma in her life. Probably because she induces it herself. She's like walking around with a constant butt plug in. Yes, support can help, but those kids deserve somewhat kind. Janie can't even fake kind, you're saying. Kids know the difference. Oh, right. It's like they talk like Jack and Lily weren't deserving of a good home or kindness, or that there's anything abnormal about it. And their old Derwood, Darren, is wanting to tell everybody just how fantastic the inside of this shithole is. We don't even have to see. Your inside is not any nicer. Quite the opposite. Another lie old Derwood was carrying on early on, I noticed. The grandparent not... What is that gone? Not you again says the grandparent not fit to grandparent was Janie, in your opinion, right? And where the fuck was Earl in their lives? Zero word on that. Well, Earl claims he was a better grandparent to Jack and Lily than their real grandparents. So is that the common family, thought in that sense? Belinda got pushed off to the wayside because Earl and Janie thought that they were much better replacements. You got a couple new indentured servants coming in, living in your home that you can boss around. You can enslave and treat like shit, get you to do things, but they weren't all that cooperative, maybe. Cool J's in my chat saying Janie's CBC interview was her putting her best foot forward. That was the nice Janie, and she put on her best clothes. That frickin' Mr. Roper outfit. Do you remember Mr. Roper's wife? That's exactly what it looks like, Cool J. You're right. Mr. Roper, Mr. Roper's wife from the 1970s TV serials Three's Company. Mr. Roper had a wife, that redhead with the perm. She used to wear these huge muumuus with the zipper, the zipper all the way down. It's like somebody's shower curtain, and the designs were just outstanding. Yeah, it's similar to that. That's just nasty. That's so fucking crazy. Like, it's amazing what some people find or convince themselves is attractive. Like, what's wrong? Well, you could have just put on like a white or black t-shirt, but no. You could have just put on any old t-shirt or shirt, but no, Janie's going to go and get this funky ass Temu thing that, you know what it looks like. That thing. I hate to even make fun of it because it sounds like I'm mocking her for some reason other than the fact that it's just her hideous. Whatever. We all can't be as perfect as I hate to do that to her because, you know, it just seems like piling on. Like, she's just such a fucking liar. But the more that you realize she's lying, the more of this caricature you're weaving in your mind. And it's just, and she is just a specimen. She is like the perfect villain. She's a villain in this, and she can't help it. There's nothing about her that's genuine. Even when she tries, it's such an awkward, forced, disingenuous, pretentious effort. That's not judging. That's an observation, Danny boy. Big difference. We're here all the time, judging his honesty, and Derwood's throughout all of this. And what does it get us? Derwood puts my name on blast. He puts me on blast on his Facebook. Dude, talk about telling the world that I live rent-free in shenanigans, and Mike DeMann and Justin and the other people you're mad at because you can't stay out of our chats with all of your fucking sock accounts. You're associating yourself to the amount of time that you spend in all of our YouTube live chats, then turn around and complain about it. Fuck is that? Is that the most contradictory thing? Funny as hell, though. Rent-free. It's not the first time, Derwood, but it's one of the funniest ones. The fact that Derwood goes through the effort and is just so amazingly unsuccessful at convincing people, other than trying to convince them of something other than they should be focused on in the moment. Straight up utilizing is lying in this circumstance. Tells you a lot. The big round curls, big gold hoops, and the zip up muumuu house dress, right? The house dress tambourine. Oh yeah, don't know. This is a house dress. Talk about really, really putting a positive spin on something. House dress. That's a hole in my fucking shower curtain. Oh yeah. Oh shit. It's almost as if MVM makes herself the victim in all of this. She's victimized. Well, it depends on what you're really suggesting this is. See, what we're experiencing and going through is a series of criminal acts by the way of the people that you're interacting with, i.e. the last people to see the missing people interacting on social media, actively disinforming on their own situation, relying on flawed logic and what's nothing short of classical red flags of deception throughout everything thus far. That's what the RCMP have to work with. That's the reality of this situation. So it's going to take a little bit of time for them to accumulate enough in order to bring the next steps to this to a close, to generalize. It's not like they have people, it's not like they have legitimate parents who are victims in this circumstance. They have parents who are deceptive and are trying to get away with something. And there's nothing in nature that can change that. That's already occurred. That sticks out to the RCMP like a sore thumb. They know which direction this is going. Imagine you being the last person to be around two children who are missing and coming out with the bullshit like Janie and Daniel have. You must be some fucking desperate. It made you look even more suspicious and more guilty to the masses. But your tweaker ass couldn't change it. This is classical tweaker geographic front page material. Debbie Robertson accused you all of using fake accounts. I think he was projecting his own behavior. I'm glad you're in my live chat there, Debbie Roberts, because that's what I like to call common sense. That's exactly what he's doing. Think about it. On Derwood's comment, you're saying, well, listen, I don't have to come up here but once a day for a couple hours, get some AdSense money, and have a whole lot of fun talking anything I want about Derwood. Darren, old Darren Geddes, because I'm just calling out exactly what it is that he does. The truth, the reality of the situation. It takes zero scripting, zero effort, zero cognitive load. It's so freeing, it's worth doing. Compare that to what it is that he does. He's fucking miserable, affected by what it is all of these strangers are saying about him at any one point in time. He's got to call people out because why? Doesn't ever have to tell you that. You just register at home when he's upset about something. Oh, I'm going to put your name on blast. Derwood, you're in the background trying to make it look like you're associated to all kinds of different biker clubs. I can't wait to be the one who makes the call to let them know where you live. Now, I'm going to do that. In fact, I almost did that before Shannon got live today. The problem is that there are no chapters of Hell's Angels in Nova Scotia. Not since 2001, son, so I guess that fell through. You're not even a prospect. Oh yeah, Lady Lex, Derwood provides the content himself. I know. He insists on being a part of a case that has international attention. He's a person of interest. I can do this all day. He can't. It looks completely different to the police when he's engaged in all kinds of certain activity. Which, again, is just added on to all of this thing that everybody refers to and doesn't talk about. There's an incident. There's the conspiracy to cover up. There's the whatever Daniel did with the bodies. And why Kent and Derwood are associating themselves and allying themselves so closely to what's so obvious. There's a reason for it. You'll have to ask her. I'm not buying it. Jane Vander, OMG, was it ever? I felt bad for you. I hope it helped. Don't forget what I said about your email, beautiful. Boy, I picked the wrong one to read. Sorry. Okay, detectives, who done it? Number 1. I'm reading silver golds. Fuck that. Jane that's going around. Okay. Hold on.
They had friends, went to school, and it's just, they had teachers that seen them every day, and it's just hard on everybody.
I know we ask you this every single time, but why do you keep doing it?
For Jack and Lily. I don't do this for myself because I'm going to see this online later and people are going to analyze it every time I move my hands.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you there, son? What does that mean you do this for Jack and Lily? You know, it's almost a deception indicator of its own because you're referring back to rhetoric. Opening up all kinds of things here. Hold on. There we go. Oh, I do it for Jack and Lily. I wouldn't be doing it for myself. I do it for Jack and Lily. What does that mean? What does that mean? Psycho traits are often characterized by a lack of empathy and remorse. They can convincingly act innocent or victimized to avoid suspicion. Poor DM. Oh, without a doubt, he's a sociopath. That's don't even have to worry about bringing those up. It's all a yes. It's all a yes with this son of a bitch. Never seen somebody so desperate, almost like the RCMP are toying with you. You're so desperate to be perceived as innocent of something that you don't even want to name, that you can't name or explain. You can't stop trying to convince people of something or other. An innocent person doesn't have that need. An innocent person doesn't need to be going through the motions like you're going through. Oh, please believe us. We're not here to lie to you, Janie says.
Every time I open my mouth, every facial expression, they analyze everything right down to a T. I know that.
Yes, we do.
What would you like the public to know?
I want the public to know if anyone has any information, just please come forward. Call the RCMP, call your local police department, call Crime Stoppers.
Do you still think they're still alive?
Yes, I hope so. I mean, that's all we have is hope.
That's all we have is hope, Danny? That's almost like an admission. That's like telling the world that they're definitely past. Anybody Oh, that'll give you nightmares. That's nightmare fuel right there. No sex toys. Oh, gross. Listen, there's something incestuous going on here. You're the one who's introducing sex toys. These things that are standing out to you, that's leakage, Janie. Why would it be anybody's business if there was? You just seem like the type to need them? Or you're well known in the community to have these? Wherever we're at, what a quinky-dink that all the supposed responsible adults were drifting in and out of sleep that morning. Yeah, in the middle of the morning, as a replacement for what actually really happened. That's how desperate they are. Like, that's not an actual excuse. And for you to revert down is really like snubbing your nose at excuses in the first place. Like, you really haven't given it an excuse for all of this. You were just drifting in and out of sleep in the middle of the morning. Come on. Hardly. But it's not important. What's important is that people see that you're lying and have lied to police with the intent to mislead them. Someone needs to tip her off pink cherry over Temu disposables she's been getting clearly. You think that's a disposable top? Like, I don't even know who that would look good on. I mean, I've never seen a garment so hideous in my life. I don't think even Claudia Schiffer could make that top look good. There's no making that top look good. It's not. It's like what somebody did with their rolls that they fucked up in length that are hanging around the shop. They just attached a zipper to them, sewed up a couple. Like, you remember the craze back in the 80s, like windbreakers? It's almost like making windbreakers again. Really don't have to do anything and try to make them cool. You know, it probably keeps mosquitoes and black flies away. The same reason that the Japanese paint their cows like black and white stripes, because when mosquitoes pick and go to the place where they're programmed to go and feed from, the scattering of the light that garment produces probably confuses them, and they choose a different host in that sense. I think I'm probably onto something with that. So it's probably a survivalist piece of gear that you would want to take into the like Canadian boreal forest. And that probably wouldn't even do a great job. It's just a selling point. That's how they advertise it. It's tactical in that sense against mosquitoes. Against those giant motherfucking blood-sucking mosquitoes. The ones that keep landing on her head in that nasty old fucking RV that keeps reminding her of the hell that she has put herself in, or that Daniel and Malaya and the kids continue to put herself in. Trying to convince herself and lie to herself that she's happy back there, at least for the day, in order to get to sleep at night.
So, does that answer your question for the second time? Here, be nice in the chat, or I end this conversation right now. The lady that was asking me questions, I wish she continue answering me questions. If not, I am done. When she is done asking me questions, you guys can comment all you want. I have nothing to hide. I lost everything in my life. So, after I'm done with talking and telling my side of the story, the truth, if you want to comment and say whatever you want, believe me, I do not care.
But you do care. But you do care because you're going out of your way to mention it. You went to all of that effort to explain to the audience about how they needed to be nice or you were going to leave. And then you continued to go on and troll the audience like this was some sort of wrestling promo shoot about how everybody's stupid and that you don't care what people think of you. Yeah, you do. That's why you're going through this. Little miss important in the moment. You're scared they'll go to prison, in your opinion? See who can tell the biggest lie? Once the RCMP decide to sit down and scrutinize their story, they're not going to turn back. There's going to be no leaving that interview room for Janie, Daniel, or Malaya. Up to this point, they've been gathering information in that phase. They haven't been put in a position other than in an attempt to try to rule and clear their names. They were given a polygraph examination where they were really put in a position to ask certain questions and be observed by the greater team and have it on camera so they could go back and analyze it later. It's just part of the process. They knew what they were dealing with since the get-go and how this was going to go, because you're only going to get so much from old Danny, no matter how this is playing out. Listen, any cop there, and most of them probably have their own families, would recognize the problem in not being able to find a child within minutes. But you have to rule out certain things. That's why these search and rescue organizations exist. Bring them in to rule things out. Meanwhile, the investigation is flowing, is already progressing. because there's a reality, a truth here that's being obscured by Daniel and Janie. All right. And the truth is what really happened to Jack and Lily. What was the incident, number one? And why are everybody so bonded in trying to be an alibi, no matter how poorly configured it is and how poorly communicated and portrayed it is, and it's baseless and nonsense? Why is it that they rely on this nonsense so much? It's fascinating to watch. Anybody can see that they're lying. Something happened to Jack and Lily. Something very fundamentally wrong happened to Jack and Lily. Horse Gone Wild. I think at this point the RCMP would take them. Okay, so I'll finish that statement off. So the RCMP build rapport with the suspects in the circumstance. They do their best to under the peace method. But there comes a time where they don't play that anymore, where they further scrutinize the story, when they get in the know of certain things and they develop a game plan. And it doesn't make sense that you're going to necessarily have that right away unless there's so many obvious things sticking out to you. This hasn't been like that because the scene has been cleaned up and there's no trace that we know of in that sense. It doesn't make sense. And in a circumstance like that, it weighs against the individuals, the adults that were last seen with the kids, not anybody else. All of the nonsense that they tried to portray made no sense. None of it. So at some point when they get enough information, then they'll pull them back in and they'll take them through the entire situation and go through it once again. We'll put an old seal on it and they'll take them to a point where they'll just get them to in a position where they're going to be forced to say one thing or the other. And their silence in that moment to those investigators are going to be the determining factors. You're either going to choose to answer the question, you're going to choose to try to lie, or you're going to choose to not say anything. Surround yourself with a lawyer. That might be Malaya's, but Daniel and Janie